to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Today will be my first book review of 2026. Hooray! I am going to be talking about the book Forget Me Not by Stacy Willingham. Forget Me Not. And this is a book of the month book. I think I have 2 books left. I think I got one in today. Don't tell anybody. So now I have 3 unread book of the month books that I am 1000% going to get to and through like in the next month or 2 so that I can start off fresh. Like, I don't want to end up, because at one point I had about 6 of these books over there, because I talked about in my other video, like how sometimes like I skip months and then I feel guilty and I'll just order a book, even though I still have so many books left to read. But I've been getting through them, and I've been getting some, the selections that I've been making have been really good. I have not gotten a book from there. Only one. I've only gotten 1 book from there out of maybe 20 books, like in the last 2 years since I've been a part of the program, or 3 years. Maybe it's been 3 years, but I've only gotten 1 book that the blurb and everything sounded good, but I was like, man, no, I didn't like that one. Everything else that I've, picked has been really good. And Forget Me Not was one of those books. So let me tell you what it's about. We're going to go here to the blurb. So 22 years ago, there's this woman named Claire. Her sister Natalie goes missing, right? She disappeared. And, at this point, 22 years have passed. Like they've said that, hey, she's not coming back. We couldn't find any evidence. They found bloody clothes and like fingerprints, like trace evidence of her being in a car. And just based on everything that they found, they're like, she's probably not alive, right? So even though they said she disappeared, because I guess, for people, it's hard, like for people who have loved ones that disappear and they don't have a body, or they don't have any 100% concrete proof that the person is no longer alive. It's hard to have closure from that, for you to just be like, okay, yeah, this person's dead. And so many people, until they get that, they hang on to a hope that someday maybe that person's going to walk back through the door. So that's kind of where Claire's mom was. And Claire had left the town where they were raised, and the town where her sister disappeared, and started, a writing career in the big city. And after walking away from her job, she, went home because her mom had been in an accident, to help her mom. And, there's a lot of friction there because she was the younger sister. And, after her sister went missing, her mom just kind of like checked out and wasn't able to really be the parent that she needed. So she decides that, she's going to stick around, but not at her mom's house. And she goes to this place. It's like a vineyard, also a place where they have fresh vegetables. It's like a, I don't know if farm to table is the correct word, but like how people have they're like independent out where they live. They farm the land, they eat from the land, but they also sell some of their things to, to people in the city or at the markets or whatever. And, she went there just, take a break, because they were looking for somebody, to help tend to the land and help, do some stuff around there. So she's like, I need a break from everything. I'm going to go out here. But one of the real reasons she even ended up out there is because her sister used to work for that place. And that was the last place that she worked before she came up missing. So, the reporter in Claire, now she's kind of like, she has an in, I'm going to be working here, but I'm also going to be, kind of digging around and see, like, does anybody know what happened to my sister, right? And then she finds a diary, and it was supposed to be hidden, I'm assuming, because you never know the way that things kind of unfolded at the end, whether or not it was put there intentionally or if it was supposed to be hidden. But like there was a loose board behind the bed, because she got to stay like in a little visitor's cottage or whatever while she was working there. And the board behind the bed fell, and when she looked in there, there was a book, and it tells the story of the couple who founded the farm. Specifically, it's the diary of the wife, Marcia. And like from the time she was like a very sheltered young teenager, like 16 or 17 years old, and she met her now husband, who was kind of, for the era that they came up in, I guess they were hippies or whatever. It was like late 60s, early 70s. And how he was just, this wild boy, and she just represented freedom. And, she was from a very strict religious household, and, she went off with him. So now Claire she's just engrossed in their story, because the Marcia that she met seems very subdued and not like the energetic, optimistic young woman in the diary. So as she reads through their diary, there starts to be a shift in a connection to her sister, right? And she starts piecing some stuff together. Things just are not what they seem. People are not who they seem. And it's just the 6 degrees of separation was crazy when that was revealed at the end. It is one of those stories that, and I have some pages here that I flagged, but it is one of those stories, it keeps you turning pages because you want to know what's going on too. What happened to Marcia? Well, what did she mean by that when, she said this and that and the third about her now husband? Like, what did he do? And it just is crazy. Like, I started to kind of figure that the husband was shady, I mean, because first of all, like, he was technically grown. I think, like, let's say he was 27 when they met and she was like 17, so he was low-key grooming her because, she had shared like how she just couldn't wait to, turn 18 and be able to leave home and see the world. So of course he's regaling her with all of these stories about the world and, how, but he's also putting things in her mind that basically being an adult is a scam. If you want true freedom, you got to work for yourself and you got to do this and you got to do that. And, she's just like following along, like a little puppy. There was a guy who also worked the farm and he was younger. And I kind of figured out who he was too early on, or who I thought he was. And I was only half right on that. That was kind of surprising. But when she found some stuff that belonged to her sister out there and you learn how it got there. And it's just, I'm always very alert when something is revealed in like a mystery or suspense book that seems random, because it has been my experience that is going to come back somewhere. That is exactly what happened in Forget Me Not. Like something happened and I was like, oh, that's foreshadowing. Something's going to happen with that. And the way that the author tied everything together, and you recall her talking about, and there's a picture of a necklace on here, right? Her talking about a necklace, like, I want to say like in the first few chapters, because she was having these dreams and visions of her sister, and she had this necklace on that, whatever. But they were just talking about that necklace too much, right? So I knew it was going to come back. But it's just, and this thing has it's like a car behind some bushes. There was this like Volkswagen or this van that the owner had, and when he first met his wife, that's what he was driving because he had driven from across country, and that backstory as well when you find out what was going on. Everything was just really tied together well, kept you engaged and engrossed in the story and wanting to know more and wanting to know how this was all gonna, turn out. And was, there a chance that Claire's sister was still alive? I mean, 22 years, I don't know. So I would definitely recommend Forget Me Not by Stacy Willingham if you are you know, into the suspense, mystery, thriller type books, and you want a story that kind of takes you back to how something started and brings you full circle, and everyone has a part in that story, and it's nothing is random or happenstance or whatever, then I think you will really enjoy this one. It's 322 pages. Came out last year in August. As far as trigger warnings, the biggest trigger warning that I can say, and it kind of encompasses anything that you would think might happen under this umbrella, but the whole grooming thing was real, you know. And there ended up being like a commune, okay? You know how like you the things you hear about when these charismatic men lure young women to these compounds and these communes, to that kind of stuff. So there's some of that going on as we get in flashbacks as Claire is reading through the diary. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, it's a lot under that umbrella. So anything you can think of that's not good, that's probably what was happening or going on there. But otherwise, yeah, very engaging book. Definitely could see this as like a limited series or something on Netflix. Forget Me Not by Stacy Willingham. If you have read Forget Me Not, I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it and what you thought about those multiple twists, because this is also a book that has multiple twists. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video and go ahead and subscribe to my channel right now. And also share my videos with anyone who you think may enjoy my reviews. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.